There are multiple reasons. So the first reason, and probably the most obvious reason, is that this is becoming a requirement and a very strong expectation from regulators around the world. The second and most important reason is that we think this is a very, very important way to work towards our mission of eliminating financial crime. So adverse media is able to bring back far more relevant information on your customer than some of the structured watch lists that are out there. And it's so important to bring back relevant information because that's the information that's actually going to help you identify something before it happens. So identify that there's a risk that your customer could be committing fraud or could be involved in money laundering or sending money to a terrorist. So really enabling you to be aware of that before it happens. We looked around a number of years ago and we saw how other people were trying to build an adverse media or a negative news screening product. And we saw there were these two ways that existed. And we didn't really think either of them were a good way of solving the problem. So the first way that we saw was this real manual way of just having hundreds of people working through articles, trying to build profiles. And what we saw the problem with that being is that you just can't cover all the information that's out there. You really need to just hire an army of people if you want to cover more information. So you're really limiting yourself to a certain amount of the information that's out there. The second way that we saw people approaching this problem was with a keyword-based approach. So you take your customer's name, you take a number of keywords, and then you try to see what's out there based on that set of information. And what we saw is that this had a number of problems. So the first one being that it just brought back so much information, so many articles that you just had to work your way through, and it was just taking a long time to actually onboard your customer. The second problem that we saw with this is that was the relevance of the information. So, when you're using words like, shoot or kill or terrorize, these words have different meanings in different contexts. And so you're very easily able to bring back stuff that isn't relevant to actually being adverse or isn't relevant to you as an institution looking for risk. At the same time, some of those words are just not present in situations where that context actually is available. So, you can actually quite clearly see that something might be about money laundering, but the word money laundering is not in that article or not in that sentence. So how are you making sure that you're bringing back that risk? And so we saw these two approaches, the manual approach and this keyword-based approach, and we said there has to be a better way to build this product. The way we're building this, we have multiple teams of world-leading machine learning engineers and software engineers, and they're really building a data pipeline that's able to create this near real-time risk database of people and organizations. We're reading millions of pages of information a day from publicly available sources, and we're using machine learning to go through those pages and extract the people and the organizations in those sources, and then understand the context surrounding them. So once you understand the context surrounding that person or that organization, you can then say, are they adverse or are they not adverse? And then once you understand that, what kind of adverse are they? So, are they related to fraud, money laundering, environmental crime? Are they terrorism linked? So a number of different categories can really help you pinpoint, what's relevant to your organization. We then take that information and we use cutting edge technology around knowledge graphs, clustering, similarity scoring, to try and really condense it down into a unique profile of information. For example, you might have thousands of pieces of information out there about one particular person. You don't want to be spending your time reading every single thing out there to make sure that that's related to your customer. You want to see that condensed down into one profile so that you can match it to your customer and make an easy decision. So that's also what we're doing there. We then look for additional identifying information around that profile. So, the age of the person, the location of that person, and other identifying information that you can then use to try and discount whether that profile is your customer or not, and really make a huge difference in the fight against false positives. The second aspect to this is how we are constantly updating this database. So because of machine learning and the way we automate this process, is that we're keeping this database constantly updated, which means on a daily basis, you're getting alerted to all new risk information on your customers. And that means that you're constantly confident that you are aware of anything adverse and any risk related to your customers. There are two main challenges that any adverse media or negative news screening product faces. So the first challenge is that of coverage. How do you make sure that you're covering all the information that's out there? So from the national newspaper right down to the local newspaper in a smaller country. The second challenge is that of false positives. So traditional approaches like keyword-based searches are going to be providing thousands and thousands of articles that you need to work your way through. And that's just redundant, irrelevant information that you need to spend the time on. And that means that you take a long time to onboard your customer and to decide whether you want to do business with someone. So that's that second problem of false positives. We're taking both these problems head on and making sure that we're addressing both at the same time and not just choosing one or the other. So from a coverage perspective, because we use automated processes and machine learning, it means we are near infinitely scalable. We can cover as much information as possible because our machines don't get tired. Secondly, the way we address false positives is twofold. So the first way we do that is through really understanding the true context of the media. So is this person really adverse, and what kind of adverse are they? If you understand the true context, then you're not going to be bringing back stuff that is just not adverse or about something that just isn't relevant to your organization. At the same time, we're then taking all that information and consolidating it down into a single profile. So you might have someone who has been spoken about across hundreds of different newspapers, and there's just thousands of articles about this particular person. We're making sure that we put that into a single profile, so that when you're trying to understand the risk about your customer, you don't need to read 1,000 articles. You just need to understand the single profile that we have about this person. Every day we're pushing the limits of what's possible from our technology and staying up to date with the latest developments in machine learning. We are also getting much closer to ensuring that our customers are able to identify and eliminate all financial crime risk, and at the same time ensuring that they become much more efficient organizations so that they can provide better products and services to their customers.